If someone were to ask you, how does the good news of Jesus Christ change the world when it comes to sex trafficking, how would you answer that question?
Our tagline is, so that exploitation ends for one more girl. And 27 million slaves in the world is a huge desensitizing number. And so the gospel changes one life at a time. So we don't take on the 27 million, we take on the one in front of us. And her life is worth, just like Jesus when he went to the cross, it was worth everything. We were worth everything to him. And we take that same mentality with her, you're worth everything to me. And that's hard because no one's ever treated you like that before, and it's hard to trust, because I'm a human, I'm going to fail you, but there is a hope, and it's Jesus. Just reminds me of a story of one of the girls. She came to us, and literally, her trafficker was going to kill her, and she was able to escape. So she came to us, her hair had been shaved off, her fingernails had been pulled out, she had burn marks all over her, she was pretty wrecked out, and there's no education, there's no conference, there's no guidebook for how do you deal with that situation.
Right.
And so I was spending some time with her. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I mean, she was just numb and robotic. And just thinking, how am I even going to connect with this woman? And because of security reasons, we were going to have to, again, move her to a different home. And I had to tell her that night. And so I just, I talked to her, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know what it's like to be you. I have no idea. I don't understand. I don't know what it's like to have been through what you've been through. But that place of mutual brokenness in my own life, God used. I just said, I do know what it's like to be small and trapped and helpless. And I do know what it's like to live after that and have hope. And she looked up at me, and one thing is, the streets tell you always, don't cry. The girls that cry die. And just tears just started rolling down her cheeks. And she looked up and she's like, I thought your life was perfect. And I was like, oh no. And that place of mutual brokenness where we get very vulnerable and transparent with one another is a place where healing can happen. And she went on. I continued to stay in her life even after she left our home. She continued on and came to know Jesus. And so I think it's just loving the one in front of you and sharing Christ. I love Philippians 3:10 that says, I want to know Christ, and I want to know the power of his resurrection, to share in the fellowship of his suffering, becoming like him in his death, and so somehow resurrection from the dead. And I think that place, of knowing Christ through suffering, where that mutual brokenness happens and the cross and trauma, collide with the resurrection, and then that and so somehow resurrection. There's only one way to know Jesus Christ as Savior, and that's through confession of sin and believing the work that he did on the cross. But that and so somehow resurrection can happen a million different ways, and we watch that every day at Wings of Refuge through the huge revelations of a girl finding her tears and the small things of deciding to stay and sleep with us one more night when she's not sure if this is what she wants. And so we celebrate a lot with the one in front of us for every milestone in that and so somehow resurrection process.